Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the draft analysis for Red Season 8. It is I, El Peterbon, the real People's Champion from Season 7. Even though, the documents may say I didn't want everybody know that I was the true champion. And regardless, Season 7 isn't canon, so it doesn't matter. But we're back. And we got some Galician City in the background, and we're gonna analyze the shit out of this draft. So there is one that I really wanted to draft this season, and I was focusing on it. It's not my first week, but I'll get to there when I get there. But in January, I drafted around that mon. I wanted to support it. So the first mon I went ahead and drafted was Tornado Styrian. Torn T is a god. I love this mon a lot. It is so easy to use. Regenerator is a broken ability, and it's got okay bulk. It's got okay attack stats, but speed is really nice. Being able to outspeed base 115, one whatever the hell is in the middle, like Salazo and some other weird stuff like that. It's got a really well. Its move pool's not that good, but it has what it needs. And it's got really spammable moves. The only problem is that its moves have bad accuracy. So one of the measures I took to fix this issue is giving it Z move. And tornadoes with Z move is awesome. Like, it makes it so dangerous. Like, you have to respect it. Like, you have to switch out, which allows me free U-turn turns. Allows me defog allows me to defog more easily if I just scare something out and I can defog, which is gonna come in play a lot because my team doesn't have really good removal. I mean, Torn is a really reliable defogger, but I don't have many defoggers. But yeah, that's Torn T. Shouldn't have to explain why Torn T is a good mon. I used this one before and I had a lot of fun with it. So to complement Torn T, I got Heatran, and again, Heatran was chosen in order to complement the Pokemon I wanted to use, which I'll get there. And the reason I drafted Heatran was two things. I wanted a good Steel type, but more importantly, I wanted a Steel type that wasn't weak to Fire. And that only really leaves me with two choices, those being either Tran or Empoleon, and fuck Empoleon. So I went to Tran. Fire immunity was really good. It's really rare. Usually fire immunity is reserved to some bad fire types like Flareon or some other worse stuff like Typhlosion. I don't know, they're both pretty bad, it doesn't matter. Either way, Tran, Stealth Rock Setter has a bunch of sets. Scarf is okay. Specs is scary as hell. 130 base special attack. This monster is so scary. It's a 4 times resist to like half the game. It resists fairy, bug, grass, steel. It is so ridiculous. And it has a quad weakness to ground, but Torn is already a very good ground switching. It's a fire type that isn't weak to rock, which is great. Like, I don't know if people value this enough, but a fire type that isn't weak to rocks is just so amazing, because you want your fire types to switch into stuff, like not switch into stuff as to take hits, but to come in, scare something out, and then go away once the water type comes in. And Heatran can do that so much better because it's not weak to rocks. It doesn't get toxic spikes. And yeah, it does that. So after the Heatran, I wanted a water resist. And I wanted some more support. So I went with Degeneration. So I went to the most cancerous Pokemon in existence, which is Toxapex. And Toxapex and I was interrupted by Fife. Anyway, I was talking about Toxapex, and Toxapex is a really annoying one. It switches into everything. It doesn't die. It has Regenerator. forming a little core with Tornado's T, and it doesn't really make a core because they share some weakness like electric, but Torn at least covers ground, which is fine. And Toxapex is just so annoying to do it. In Draft League is less annoying because you can see it coming, you can prep for it, you can pack the right Z move for it, but it's still usable. The ability to set up Toxic Spike, set up just Toxic, and Scald, switch into everything, use the regen. I could use like a jack button Toxapex if I feel like it, do abuse Regenerator even more. And you know, it's Toxapex. This is just here to annoy people. And the one thing I don't like about Toxapex is that it's a momentum shatterer. Like, it completely destroys all momentum in the match, unless it's like the eject button set. But I'm not planning on using that too much, if at all. Regardless, it is a good because it might be necessary to use Toxapex to stop some sweepers or some extremely strong stuff. So yeah, and click Haze and whatever. And yeah, but Toxapex is a really passive mod, and people are gonna give me shit for calling Toxapex passive because it has Haze. But just because you can't set up on it doesn't mean that the Pokemon isn't passive. Okay, all right, we're cool. Oh, anyway. After Toxapex, I drafted the one Pokemon that I really wanted to draft, which is more or less what I've been around. It is Mega Heracross. So, Mega Heracross is a really cool mon. I love Heracross in general, not so much Mega Hera. Heracross is probably my favorite Gen 2 mon. It's really cool. I like its design. I like how it represents Latin America in Pokemon Go, which is kind of funny. And yeah, I really wanted to use Mega Heracross because I think it's really cool, like interesting mon because it has really cool typing and cool skill and skill link. But the problem with using Mega Heracross is you really gotta build around it because it needs enough support. It needs speed, support it. You need resist to its weaknesses because it has decent bulk, but it's no Cure in Black or stuff like that. And sometimes it's overpriced. Like, people seem to put in tier 1 and stuff, so I wanted to draft it when I feel it's worth it because it's definitely not one of the best megas in the tier. I just really wanted to use it. But one of the really cool things is it wasn't that expensive. It was like 14 points, which is fine. But you know, Red decided that this season we're not forcing turn 1 Mega, which is really good because Mega Heracross can stay in regular form and abuse its abilities and abuse its speed because regular Heracross has 10 more speed than Mega Heracross, and it also has abilities like Guts and Moxie, which are two amazing abilities. Moxie can allow me to stay regular and get a kill and then Mega Evolve after I get +1. +1 Mega Heracross. Just look at that attack stat. Like, +1 Mega Heracross, probably OHKO Gengar with close combat. I'm not even kidding. It's that strong. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if OHKO Gengar was like legit Mega Horn or Pin Missile because it is way too damn strong. 185 attack is nuts. And like, regular Heracross is no slouch either. Regular Heracross has 135 attack. That's a shitload. Even if I can't use like Choice Band, like if I switch into a Will-O-Wisp and I have Guts, I may as well just stay regular because it does more damage. And a burnt Heracross holding a Heracronite is the same as holding a Flame Orb. Really, it doesn't change anything. Except I take more damage from knockoff the first turn or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But the only problem with using regular Heracross is that I have to hold a Heracronite, which is fine. It's not that big a problem. I can't use Scarf Heracross, sadly, which is really good Scarfer, but we'll work around it. Again, I wanted to use Mega Hera, but I get access to both forms, which is fine. which is, has its advantage. There are definitely situations where Heracross is preferable over Mega Heracross, but you can use both. So we use both. And we build around it. Yeah, again, it's another 4 times weaknesses. Um, so I don't know how I feel about that, but right now our flying resist is Heatran. We're gonna get another one soon enough. Yeah, we're gonna get another one very soon actually. But yeah, I wanted to have flying resist, and I wanted to have electric resist because right now I have 2 electric weak mons and no resist. So, and I wanted, well, something to resist electric and flying. That's just electric. But the problem with electric types is that most of them are actually garbage. If you want to use them as switch-ins, you either use Rotom or you just die. And most electrics are really frail. But one exception to this rule is Raikou. Raikou actually has fairly decent bulk, especially in the special side. It has 90 HP, which is quite respectable. And its abilities are not relevant at all, but it's still flying resist. It's very fast and very strong, so it can easily force out most flying types, which Heracross has love. I think Raikou plus Heracross is just a sick combo that people don't pay too much attention for it, because Raikou is only weak to ground and Heracross is ground resist. So, which is something I think a lot of people realize that it's so rare to find good bugs that you can use as ground resist. So, like, it's just boss wall basically, and LOL Shelmet. But generally, people don't use bug types as switching. But Heracross is definitely a switching to some ground type. There are not many mons that can like just muscle through Heracross. It's also a bug type that isn't weak to rocks, which is great. But enough about Heracross. So yeah, Raikou. Sadly, I don't have Z moves on this. I kind of want it. I think Raikou makes good use of Z moves because yeah, you can use Z Aura Sphere to actually do damage. You can Z Shadow Ball. You can Z Hyper Beam to just nuke anything. You can use Sunny Day plus Z Weather Ball to do some funky shit. But that's just way too Galaxy Brain for me. Regardless, Raikou's an excellent Volt Switch user as well, which is something else Heracross really loves. You can Volt Switch into a special wall, go right into Heracross, and something has to die because that's how Heracross rolls. If you're slower than Heracross, something dies. And being able to, if only you got Volt Absorb like it was planned to, it would be amazing. But sadly, we gotta deal with Pokemon pressure. It's fine. Again, Raikou can even late game sweep like sub Calm Mind and stuff like that, so it's fine. Yeah. So I wanted, again, now my team has 3 ground weaknesses and 2 ground resists, 1 immune and 1 resist. So I'm kind of like finding it funny that I don't have like ground neutral monsters. But anyway, I go for a second ground resist, which is Flygon. It just so happened to be a dragon, which is cool. A dragon is always nice, I'm not sure how I feel about having an 80-80-80 bulk dragon with like that's not resistant to water or grass. But I have for those. I mean, for grass I have Heatran, and for water I have Tox Effect. So I think I'm covered on that area. And it's a ground type, and it's got Levitate, so it's really good because it's actually resistance to Edgequake, which is actually super rare in this format. Like in Pokemon in general, one that's immune to Earthquake and resistant to rocks. Those do exist, but they are rare. And it's also an electric community, so now I have another electric resist / immunity. And I decided to give it Z moves. I debated between Flygon and something else, which is my next pick actually. But I decided to go with Flygon because Flygon gets Dragon Dance, but it doesn't really have attack. It only has 100 attack, and even after +1 Dragon Dance, it only has like 450 attack at Jolly. So it doesn't really do that much damage, especially with its coverage moves. It gets like Fire Punch and some like very weak stuff like that. So if I want to blow through like I don't know, some sort of grass type that resists my earthquake stab, I can use that. I can use the fire punch, which actually does damage. I also don't have to rely on outrage. I can use Z outrage, which is way better. So it makes sweeping with Flygon so much easier if you have access to Z moves. And you know, Flygon also a good choice user. I can U-turn, I can, you know, Earthquake is extremely spammable. Stab Earthquake. Flygon is really fast for a ground type actually. You don't see that many ground types. I wish it had other abilities sometimes. I wish it had other abilities such as like Dig, but again, I'm not gonna go on about it. And so next, I'm kind of going a bit crazy. Oh, it's Flygon's also a second defogger, by the way. But I'm kind of going a bit crazy with like just resist and you know just momentum. So I'm thinking about some other type of utility I wanted, and I was talking to, I forgot, I think it was Vic actually, and he told me I needed priority, which is probably my biggest flaw in all draft leagues. I never I never prioritize getting priority. I always like either forget or I get some like very bad priority. So I went with Lycanroc Dusk. And Lycanroc Dusk gives me Stealth Rock, which is a very fast Stealth Rock setter. Even though it's frail, it's really reliable because of its speed. It gives me very strong Accelerock. It's funny because I had Lycanroc Day over Dusk in the last season, and it did so much work. That little thing put in so much work. It checked the Under Roses, it checked all the flying types, it set up rocks every game. It 1v1 Gallade, Regenix Mega Gallade, by endeavoring and allowing Infernape to pick up the kill later. And I still defend that I think Lycanroc Day is better than Lycanroc Dusk, mostly because of its speed. But for this team, I decided to go with Dusk because I wanted the extra damage on Accelerock, because I might need it. And the shoot point to speed don't matter that much because I already have Raikou and Tornadoes. So yeah, I don't really care that much about speed. I'd rather have power here. And I really wanted to Z move this just to have access to Splinter Shred, whatever the hell its signature Z move is, to remove terrain, because there's some motherfuckers running around with Leela Zam, and I don't know about that. That's super scary. Yeah. So, and I really wanted to, but then again, I feel like this thing also prefers to run other items such as Focus Sash or Band. Generally, it does fine with Band, as Flygon has a sweeping set. Like Dragon Disc Flygon is a better sweeper than SD Lycanroc in my opinion. And Flygon also, due to its typing and overall bulk, it can set up easily, more easily. What the fuck am I talking about? English, please. It can set up more easier. I forgot. I don't know how to say this. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. And then Lycanroc. So yeah. So I decided to go with Flygon. I can see myself running other items on Lycanroc. That's it. And again, Stealth Rock and priority. That's basically what I wanted. So speaking of priority, I went with an old faithful of mine. Probably like one of my favorite mods in all the draft league. It's Lipard. 106 speed is amazing. Just scripts Beanstar, which I actually think wasn't drafted. Huh, that's funky. Draft with TB on it that Mega Beanstar wasn't drafted. That's really interesting, for sure. Prankster is great ability. This thing is ridiculous. Like it gets, despite being a dark type, it gets the coverage of a normal type. It gets Thunder Wave. It gets weird stuff like Play Rough and Poison moves. Yeah, and even gets like Yawn and some other stuff. Like this one has a couple tech that's hidden. It's no Klefki. It doesn't get spikes or anything. But hey, we can make it work. It's also a dark type, which is good because I wanted a dark type because of my team's sort of weak to Psychic. And I mean, so far I have my only resistance strand, and I really wanted a Dark type. Like I said, there are people around running Lele them, so I don't know how I feel about that. And yeah, its speed tier is really good, 106. It's probably one of the best foul play users in the game because you can T-wave the fast stuff and then foul play, which gets stab, and you can use the opponent's attack. It gets the coverage it gets the coverage it needs against the types it's weak to. It gets you probably won't see me using too much attacking moves in this thing. I'm gonna just spam status because Heracross again loves paralyzed opponents, so it's just running around spreading T-wave is something Heracross will always enjoy. So yeah, and that's basically it. I just like Liepard. It's a good mon. It has no bulk whatsoever, but its speed and its abilities are awesome. Well, yeah, that's it. And after that, I got Izumaro again. I was still thinking about the priority, and I had no fairy up to this point, and so because Red increased the point limit. People are getting some really broken drafts with like just power stacked and power stacked and power, and even me, like I was grabbing a couple cool ones, but I still had reasonable amount of points left, so I decided to grab one more broken stuff, and Azumarill was pretty fucking busted, like because of huge power it has so much attack and its typing so awkward. Like poison, being weak to poison is like almost nobody has poison coverage, like reliable poison coverage, and I have enough poison resist. Like being weak to grass, like this thing and Heatran complement each other so well, except for Azumarill weakness to electric and Heatran's weakness to ground. But even still, like Azumarill helps the ground type. And like even if I don't want to run a huge power, I can use its other abilities that are also niche. Like, I can run Sap Sipper, and Sap Sipper can actually help Azumarill counter its own counters. Because grass types, especially grass poison types, love to switch into Azumarill. But if they only have grass to attack Azumarill and Sap Sipper, then it can just be Perish Trapping and hit them with a Whirlpool, and they're gone, and that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's also my fairy type, and Zoomer is not the best fairy type. I mean, it doesn't do the best job of being a fairy because it's more of an offensive, bulky offensive mon than it is a defensive pivot. But it can work. At least I have one, so I can scare out some dragons and stuff. And its player up still hurts like a bitch. Like not many stuff wants to take it. That's also another dark resist, which is good. And yeah, that's it. That's Azumarill. I don't have to explain why it's good. It's Azumarill. Choice Band, Aqua Jet, it just muscle through everything. And it's also my second water type, which is something I value a lot. I like having two water types, especially with such different roles like Azumarill and Toxapex. One of them is very defensive, the other is very offensive. And so they can, depending on the matchup, I can bring both or neither, or one of them, and to fit whatever. Because I think water is probably the best type in the game. So yeah, and stab, water priority is amazing, especially when I'm on this strong. That usually just runs max HP and max attack, so you can take hits, you can spam your priority, you can surprise them with belly drum. Like Azumarill is just like, I don't know, it's just so many mind games. Like you can never know what's gonna do. Not having Z on this kind of hurts for Z belly drum, but it's fine. I'm just gonna run band, or like I can still run citrus belly drum. I can still run a lot of stuff. It's fine. Well, after Azumarill, I wanted. Well, it's weird because I debated between drafting a grass type and a normal type. I wanted Bellossom here, but Nate because Blossom is broken as fuck, and apparently people didn't learn, so they wanted Blossom to still be worth 2 points, but when it's clearly worth at least 15. So I was going to redraft Blossom and reteach him, but Nate, my good friend Nate, said he wanted, so I decided to let him have it because I'm a nice guy like that. Then I wanted Munchlax, but then I was like, I don't know how I feel about Munchlax. So I kind of debated between drafting a normal and a grass type, and all of them suck. But then this thing appeared, and it's Saucebug. Now Saucebug is actually a pretty fancy mon. It is a normal grass type, which is I think it's the only one in the game, and it has three very good abilities. Chlorophyll, it's usually better fit for when you have like Torkoal. But you never know. I have Z move on this, so I could use like some max HP Z Sunny Day set with Chlorophyll. That would be funky, but I'm not gonna do that. Sap Super is good. Give me another grass immunity. I don't have to rely on a Sumeru. I actually have 2 grass immunities on this drafter, which is insane. And it also has Serene Grace, so I can do some really cool shit. I can spam Stab Secret Power for the 60% paralyzed rate, which again helps Heracross a lot. Yeah, being able to paralyze stuff with a grass type without relying on status moves is really rare, like insanely rare. So many interruptions. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, Saucebug. I have Z moves on this, which is actually really cool because Saucebug has some really interesting coverage. It gets like Jump Kick, it gets Mega Horn, it gets a bunch of coverage that Grass type normally don't. Grass types are known for having way shitty coverage, but you know, um, Saucebug is not one of them. It actually has like Wild Charge and stuff like that. Its coverage is really good. It also gets Baton Pass, so I can choice lock it and use Baton Pass as a pivot for, again, all my mons that love Baton Passing in Momentum, like Heracross and Heatran and Azumarill. And yeah, it's fun. You can do that. I can also ST Baton Pass. It is not banned. The Speed Passing is banned, but everything else is fine. And it's a decent. I can switch into like a grass move and then sub and Baton Pass, and then it pass the sub and a +1 attack into something like Heracross, and then everything dies because that's how stuff goes. So yeah, this thing actually complements my team quite well. Again, I wanted a normal type mostly to have a ghost resist, because right now my ghost resist is Liepard, and Liepard isn't a resist of anything. But I don't know how well this thing's gonna work as a ghost resist, because the only Chewy ghosts that are running around are, well, there's stuff like Frostlass, but the two that I'm mostly scared of are Gengar and Blacephalon. And Blacephalon is a fire type, Gengar is a poison type, so both of them can hit a Saucebug for super effective damage on the grass side, and so can like Frostlass, and most of them have Will-O-Wisps and stuff like that to neuter my attack stat. So I don't know, I don't think this thing will actually be that useful as a ghost resist. It might come in handy if the ghost type is like choice locking the Shadow Wall. At least they have an immunity, so it's okay. Sure. But yeah, that's Saucebug. I don't know how well this thing's gonna work, but anyway, and last but definitely not least, English. Come on, man. It is the year of the pig, man. It is Grumpig. Yeah. Chinese New Year just passed. Actually, it is today. I'm recording this video on Chinese New Year, and it's the start of the year of the pig, people. Listen to this thing. It is the god of all Pokemon. Okay, in all seriousness, I've been hyping the shit out of this thing. I think Grumpig is really cool. Like I love its design, and I have like a good memory of it from back in Ruby time. I think my first Ruby playthrough ever, I had one, and it's complete garbage. But it was fun. I always thought the design was cute and cool at the same time. And this thing, as Grumpy itself as a Pokemon, it's actually quite an interesting Pokemon. It has decent HP, amazing speed depth, and okay speed actually. You think this kind of Pokemon was slow, but 80 speed is actually kind of fine. And it has actually two really good abilities because Take Fat makes it actually a really reliable fire and ice resist on the special side, and which is most of them. And Gluttony allows it to use berries, and this thing's move pool is actually super fucking insane. Like it gets screens recycle for the berry abuse. It gets counter, mirror coat, thunder wave again. I want to paralyze everything. It gets moves it shouldn't get, like it gets drain punch. It's weird stuff. I wanted to meme the hell out of this thing and give it Z moves, but it was 1 point short. If this thing was 2 points, I would have Z'd it instead of Solid Book. Maybe, I don't know, because Solid Book move pool is actually more beneficial for Z moves, and this thing is actually, I can see myself using Berry over anything else, because Berry Recycle Gluttony is actually a really cool combo. And yeah, that's basically it. This thing has like weird ass coverage, like it has Power Jam and move. Yeah, and I don't know how else gonna do. Like I'm hoping I can use it a lot, and I want. And yeah, the reason I drafted it is because I think it's a really cool mon. I think its move pool is actually cool. Utility wise, it's actually cool, and it's another psychic resist, and actually a decent one because it resists psychic without being weak to like fighting. Which is something my team desperately wanted. And it's actually a fighting resist as well, so it helps Heatran and stuff like that. Cause yeah, it complements Life Art as well. Then I'm getting tired because it's late. So yeah, this is my draft. This is the stats, and first of all, I love the speed tiers in this team. They're super nice. Like they hit almost every single 5 benchmark, or roughly, up to 80, up to 90. Sorry, I went ahead and included both Heracross and Mega Heracross here, as they both should be considered when making speed tiers, because it could very well just stay regular. So the speed tiers are really nice. I don't have a 60, but 60 don't matter that much. Most 60s tend to run bulk anyway. And type wise, I like it. I like how I don't have any major weakness. I have at least 2 resists to everything, and except for rock, but there aren't that many scary rock types, and rock as coverage doesn't matter that much. So I think it's fine. I also like how my entire team, except for Tornadoes, isn't weak to rock, which is great because people are gonna set up Stealth Rock on me, and I can just don't care. Like my fire type isn't weak to rock, my bug type isn't weak to rock. I don't give a shit. You can just do whatever you want. And my flying type has Regenerator, so the only problem I can see myself struggling really hard is like spikes, because for T spikes I have Toxapex to remove them, which is, you know, always there. But so people might be, you know, might not bring toxic spikes to me that much because of that Toxapex. But regular spikes fucking hurt a lot because most of my team is grounded. I only have 2 non-grounded Pokemon. So, and my only 2 defog sources are Flygon and Tornadoes. Like I said, Tornadoes is a good defogger, and Flygon's okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a problem. We're gonna have to work around the spike setters. Sticky Web is not that big an issue because I have Trick Room on Grumpig, and I have, you know, defog. Both my defoggers aren't touched by Sticky Web, so I can just defog on Sticky Web setters. I have enough priority. I have Frankstar Life Art. I have really strong priority users in Accelerock Dusk and Aquajet Azu. So I don't think stuff stick around will be normal edition. It's just regular spikes that really scare me. And other than that, I think the team's really well rounded. I don't have that many scary threats, but I think the synergy in this team is really strong. Like I like how all ones complement each other really well. And even though the other people in yellow have way scarier drafts, like if you measure the mons individually, like the other people in yellow have scary as fuck drafts. But I think synergy wise, I think my team is really strong in that regard. And I think they complement each other really well. And I'm gonna try to make best out of it. Will we succeed? I don't know. We have Grumpy on our side, so probably yes. But we'll see. So, as for battle reviews, if you're expecting that from me, you're so wrong. Bye.